This your time again. Now you listen to Real Talk 100 coming live, and we're gonna look at the story of the title of the 7 astronauts that died in 73 seconds before space. Hit the like button before I talk about this episode. So hit the thumbs up, you agree. Hit the thumbs down, you agree. So you listen to Real Talk 100. So we're going to talk about the video. Hit the comments. Hit your notification bells before you hit the subscribe to it. By the time to hit a new episode since day one on Real Talk 100. So we're going to get this started. The 7 astronauts that died. So the names are Dick Scooby, the commissioner. Michael J. Smith, he's the pilot. Ronald Minier, the mission specialist. Ellison Onizuna, the mission specialist. Judah Resnick, the mission specialist. Gregory Jarvis, the payload specialist. Christy McLaughlin, payroll special teacher. So, in January 28, 1986, 7 astronauts had got on board of the rocket and it had went to space, killing 7 in 73 seconds before it hit space. About 46,000 feet, 14 kilometers above the Atlantic Ocean of the coast of Cape Canaveral, Florida. It was around 16:39 and 13 seconds, which is military time, which is known as 11:39 a.m. Eastern time. So the first fatal accident involved on a spacecraft while in flight. So we're gonna get everything started. We're gonna start at the beginning, and we're gonna show the beginning as how it's all happened. So the space shuttle was a perfectly refusable spacecraft operated by the U.S. National Astronaut and Space Administration, known as NASA. It flew for the first time in April of 1981, and it was used to conduct in orbit research and deploy commercial, military, and scientific payload. At the launch of considered of the orbiter, which is contained the crew of the payload, the external tank, and the 2 solid rocket boosters. So the 2 rocket boosters, the booster will make the rocket goes a little faster as it goes to space. So the orbiter was a reusable wing vehicle that launched vertically and launched as a glider. 5 orbiters were built during the Space Shuttle program, which is the Cliffhanger. OV-099 was the second orbiter constructed after the conversion, and the structure text article. The orbiter contained with the crew compartment where the crew predominantly lived and worked through the mission. And when all 7 astronauts, what it is, it took a minute. They did background check. They had experience, so they never and wanted to explode through space. That's what really was the mission. So they were gonna go explore to space, maybe stay in space for a minute, and they was gonna come back. Well, by the time they went to space or whatever, then it didn't happen. So the Challenger rockets booster flight uncontrollably after the breakup of the external tape separate from the shuttle sack. The remains of the orbiter and tank leaves thin white trails as it falls for the Atlantic Ocean. So the thing is, when it all exploded, all the pieces went to the ocean. Now I think some pieces went this to the angle and that to the angle. Hit the like button. So the evolution of proposed SRB design of the early 1970s and field joint testing shows that the wide tolerance between the matte parts allowed the ring, O-ring, was extracted from the field rather than compressor of starting of judging accepted by neither. So the thing is about those rockets. When those seven astronauts got on, when they got on board, they was when they was looking, when they took up the space, by the time it hit to the air, they knew something wasn't right. Hit the like button. They knew something wasn't right with this situation with the rocket. You remember we was talking about that earlier about the seven astronauts. So I think the person who was looking and checked, and I believe was Gregory Jarvis, the first one probably spotted the engine. So when he told the squad that something wasn't right, then it gave up a great smoke. It would start smoking as well too. So at T+0, Challenger launched from the Kennedy Space Center Launcher Complex 39B, LC-39B at 11:38 a.m. Beginning at T+0 678 until T+3 375 seconds. 9 puffs of dark gray smoke was recorded escaping from the right-hand SRB near the alt shot. The attack the booster to the ET was later determined as these smoke puffs were caused by the joint rotation at the AFT field joint of the right-hand SRB at intonation. The cold temperature within the joint was prevent of the O-ring while creating a seal. Rainfall from the preceding time on the launch pad, which likely accumulate within the field joints. So to further compulsory the field capability of the O-ring, as a result, hot gas was able to travel past the O-ring and erode them molten aluminum oxidants from the burn propellants intentionally resealed of the joints and created a temporary barrier against further hot gas and flames escape from the field joints. Then what it is that it was sparking, giving fire. It was causing the fire so that's where the explosion came from. It's from the flame escaping those joints, those field joints. Hit the like button. So it says the Space Shuttle main engine was throttling down and scheduled for a maximum dynamic pressure during the ascent of Space Shuttle encountering wind short condition beginning at T+37. But they was within design limits of the vehicle were counted by the guidance system. So it says at T+58.788, a tracking film camera captured the beginning of the plumb near the off-attached strip on the right SRB right before the vehicle passed through the max at T+59.000. The high aerodynamic forces and wind shear likely broke an unintentional aluminum oxide seal that has replaced era O-rings allowed the flame to burn through the joints. So that joints was burning. It burns through the joints as it going up to the air, and you see all that flame coming out. It don't supposed to be that. It don't supposed to be like that. It don't supposed to. So what it is, that rocket, I don't know what they said. The rocket had been built a long time ago. So this rocket, I don't know if this rocket is probably about 20 years old or 15 years old or whatnot. But this rocket has been built years ago. And the rocket never been used. Again, went to 1981. Hit the like button. So, in other words, that within seconds from when it was the first recording, the plum become well defined and the enlarged hole causing a drop in the internal pressure in the right SRB. A leak has begun in the liquid hydrogen LH2 tank, and the ET at T plus 64.660 as indicated by the charged shape of the plum. So it was a gas, it was a leak. So that tank was leaking already. It was leaking some of the fuel out already before it explodes. That's why they was constantly smelling gas. And they was constantly smelling gas. So the SSME project of compensate of the booster burn through which it was created at unexpected dearths at the vehicle. The pressure in the external LH2 tank began to drop at T plus 66.764. Indicated that the flame has burned from the SRB into a tank. The crew and flight controller made no indication that were aware of the vehicle and flight. Anemonis at T plus 68, the Capcom Richard O. Carvey told the crew Challenger to go to a throttle up, indicated that the SSMEs had throttled up at 104% thirst. In response to Carvey, Scooby says, Roger, go to throttle up. This was the last communication from Challenger to the air to ground loop. So now, that was the last time that's the last time Scooby told Roger to go throttle. To means go up some from the ground. Now this is what getting a little tricky here. This is what happened here. This is what caused this. The vehicle breakup. This is what caused for this whole thing to blow up completely. At T plus 72.284, a right SRB pulled away from the F strap that attached to the ET causes lateral acceleration that felt by the crew. At the same time, pressure in the LH2 tank began to drop. Pilot Mike Smith says, which was the last crew comment recorded at the T plus 73.124. So he said, something's not right here. So they's trying to contact NASA to talk about the problems this thing causing. So it was some type of way they supposed to go to the moon, and there's no way they could turn this rocket around to go back into space, go back down, because right now it didn't go to space yet, but it's supposed to turn. They's gonna turn it around and go back to the space with at plus 70 T plus 73.124 as the vapor was seen flowing away from the ET at the witches at the off drone at the LH2 tank fell off and release and ignition of all liquid hydrogen in the tank pushed from the LH2 tank forward into the liquid hydrogen LOX tank with the force equating at roughly 3 million pound force 13 megawatts, which while the right SRB collided with the inner tank structure. So these events result in the aberrant changes at the shuttle tank shaft attitude and direction, which is the shrunk for which is of vaporized contents, which is the now destroyed ET. After travel of March 1st, 92, Challenger took aerodynamic forces was not designed which stands to break into several large pieces of a wing and was still firing main engine. The crew cabin and hyperglycic fuel leaking from the abrupt reaction control system were among the parts identified exciting the vapor cloud. The disaster unfolded at its altitude of 46,000 feet, 14 kilometers. So both SRB survived the breakup. The shuttle sat and continued flying now unguided by the attitude and controls of their mothership until the flight terminator system was activated at T+110. So everything was like it's going to blow up. It was blowing up, but it was on its last leg. So now they was looking at this, and they constantly was contacting NASA and was contacting those people, but it wasn't no way they can contact them because everything was starting to. It was on a process. It was on a process of blowing up now. Now it says the cause of death is the crew cabin, which have made a reinforced aluminum separation for one piece and the rest of the orbit. Then travel in the ballistic arc, reaching at apogee of 65,000 feet, 20 kilograms, approximately 25 seconds after the explosion. At the time separation, the maximum acceleration of estimate have between 12 and 20 times of the gravity, then which is 2 seconds of have dropped below 4 grains, which is 10 seconds of the cabin has been free fall from forces involved of the stage was properly suffered, causing major injury of the crew. So let's see. So right now, everybody trying to figure out what caused this explosion. They want to figure out what's causing this explosion. So they did a whole lot of investigation and everything, and hit the like button. So everything was happening while I was in going to a space. So like I said, these rockets, you have to do a whole lot of inspection on those rockets because it's very dangerous. It had another incident happen in 2003 in Columbus, Ohio. It was the same 7 people. See, the maximum people that get into those rockets was 7 people to get in. It was 7 people. So if a person back then, like if the first man on the moon in 1969, okay, cool. So when they go up, so he was in the rocket alone. He went up into space, and the rocket everything was safe. So now I don't know. So I don't know if it's the same rocket or it's a different type of rocket. But the thing is, immediately after let me go back and read it. It says, unlikely. After the spacecraft of the space shuttle did not allow the crew to escape during the power light, launch escape system has been considered during development, but NASA's conclusion was the space shuttle aspiring high reliability would preclude the need for one. For moderate SR-71 Blackbird ejection seats had full pressure suits are used for 2-person crews. So it has two people in each seat. So if something happened, you can if a thing blow up, they have safety equipment. You can eject your way out, and then you have a parachute to come down. If it goes 46,000 feet, you can do a parachute. You can, because you're not near space yet. You can eject yourself out and you can come down on a parachute. But I'm gonna tell you, you don't know where you're gonna land to. That's the point. It is, because when you're up in the air, you're up in the air. Everything got so small. You don't know where you're gonna land to. And then, but they were disabled. So those test flights was disabled. So something was really wrong with those. So the whole plane itself, it was disaster. Hit the like button. So it says the first 4 space shuttles orbit first flights, but they was disabled. And later removed the Operation Flight Escape option flights were considered, but not implemented due to the constant high cost of the heavy weight. After the disaster, the system was implemented to allow this crew to escape the gliding flight, which is a system would not have been unable to space and explore it during the exit. So what it is, on January 31st, the U.S. Navy was tasked with submarine recovery operation. The search and force pressurized the recovery of the right SRB, followed the crew compartment, and then the remaining payload other pieces. The search de-rest formally began on February 8th, which is the rescue has salvaged ship USS Pervert and eventually grown to 16 ships, in which is 3 managed by NISA, 4 by the U.S. Navy, and the Air Force of 8 of the independent contractors. The surface ship used side scan sonar to make the initial search, and the parts of covered 486 square nautical miles at the water depth between 70 feet, 21 meters, and 12,200 feet and 370 meters. The sonar operations discovered 881 potential locations at Dippers, which is 187 pieces later confirmed it from the orbit. Now the thing is, what caused this thing to blow up? I'm gonna tell you one thing. What caused this thing to blow up? I believe that part of that engine was froze. It was very cold. That's number one. The cause of death, a Challenger astronaut cannot be possibly determined, so they don't know what caused of it. Now, they were saying different, like the thing was blew up. It has a froze engine. It caused the thing to spark. Then the gas had the fuel had leaking. It had a leak, and it was like different people. It was like rumors. Like rumors said these things. So what I'm gonna say is, so why the hell did y'all let them people get on that ship for the beginning? Why did you let them get on that ship? How many, if y'all did, they never, so in my word, they never did the inspection. Y'all did the inspection, but y'all didn't check y'all didn't check inside where the fire comes out at to shoot the rocket in the air. Hit the like button. So what I'm gonna tell you this. So it was a it had no downwind. And soon we had a malfunction where everything, those rockets supposed to be inspected. Y'all supposed to have some type of inspection. I don't care if you do it 5 times, 10 times, 20 times. But when you put these people up here, it didn't happen one time, it happened twice. And only way, and I'm gonna tell you, the only way you gotta go up to space, you gotta be highly educated. You gotta have you a PhD. You have to take classes because they not gonna let anybody get up on there in their rocket and go up to space. No way. Unless you knew exactly what you do, you gotta know all the buttons. You gotta know the name of them buttons. You gotta check each and every button into the rocket. You got to look everything that way. That way, you knew exactly which one to push. So I don't know if they was fooling with it. I don't know. I don't know what was going on. Hit the like button. So let me see. So what caused the breakup is, so the White House responded by President Ronald Reagan had given a speech of the 1986 State of the Union address. So in 1986 of the evening, the Challenger disaster, after the discussion with the aide, Ronald Reagan postponed of the State of the Union and the state address of the nation about the disaster of the Oval Office. On January 31st, Ronald and Nancy Reagan traveled to the Johnson Space Center to speak at the memorial service honored the crew members during the ceremony of Air Force. Bang says, God bless America, at NASA. T-38 Thailand jets flew directly over the scene at the traditional missing man formation. Now in Florida, every January 28th, they have some type of thing going on at the NASA for those 7 astronauts has been explode during the 73 seconds explosion before Earth, before space. Hit the like button. So the reports had been going on and happening, and what things going on, it was the Challenger, and it's all caught on camera. As a matter of fact, it all caught on camera. So we're gonna check and see. So we're gonna check this out, and we're gonna find out what. And for the funeral ceremonies, like, so now on April 29th, 1986, the astronauts were transformed on a C-141 Starlifter craft from Kennedy Space Center to the military mortuary of Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. Their caskets was each dropped American flag and carried past the honor guard and followed by the astronaut escort. After the remains arrived at Dover Air Force Base, they were transferred to their families of the crew members. Scooby and Smith was buried at the Arlington National Cemetery in Arlington, Texas. Onizuka was buried at the National Memorial Cemetery at the Pacific in Honolulu, Hawaii. Manera was buried at the Rest Line Memorial Park in Lake City, South Carolina. But his remains was later moved to the town of the Dr. Ronald E. Manera Memorial Park. Resnick was cremated and her ashes were scattered all over the sea. Acloffe was buried at Calvary Cemetery in Concord, New Hampshire. Jarvis was cremated and his ashes were scattered all over the Pacific Ocean. The unidentified crew remains are buried at the Space Shuttle Challenger Memorial in Arlington on May 20th, 1986. So I'm sorry for the loss of the family, and we're going to do this. So rest in peace, Dick Scooby. Rest in peace, Mike J. Smith. Rest in peace, Ronald McNair. Rest in peace, Allison Onozuna. Rest in peace, Judah Resnick. Rest in peace, Gregory Jarvis. Rest in peace, Christina McCarthy. And thank you for our service, and thank you for trying to go up to space. And I was 6 years old when this is happening. I was 6 years old. They had even talked about it and all over the news, all over the world. So rest in peace to those astronauts. Thank you for watching Real Talk 100. Real Talk.